top secret. We wanted 17 car parkings when the lady was... She had 4 security guards with her everywhere she went, who wanted somewhere to park his submarine.
Let's get that one.
I need another villa for my lady friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I have special guest with me. You can't wait to see him. Please welcome the one and only Mr. Jason.
Oh my gosh, what a gorgeous welcome, H. That's so nice. That's the nicest you've ever spoken to me. Thank you so much.
Mr. Jason, we will talk about real estate, investment. First of all, we need to hear something about you, your background. I know you've been in different countries. You have a different businesses, especially the real estate. Now, based on 10 years of experience in Dubai real estate and 30 plus years in the world.
Okay, what's rather interesting is you sell real estate, but your mathematics is horrific. So that would be 30 years in total, 10 of which were in Dubai. I'm only 12 on the inside.
Yeah. Yes, in total, I mean, yeah, in total, all of it. What's the difference in the real estate between US, UK, UAE, Dubai?
Oh, wow. Well, the United States is full of Americans. The British is full of British, and the United Arab Emirates has got 200 different nationalities. But more seriously, I think the UAE is the most exciting real estate market in the world right now. We used to just talk about Dubai, didn't we? But indeed, Abu Dhabi is producing some incredible projects. And of course, Ras Al Khaimah is producing some incredible projects around the Wynn Resort. The difference between the two is that here in the United Arab Emirates, we're at the start of that real estate journey. There is more development, luxury development happening here in the United Arab Emirates than anywhere else in the world. The markets in the United States and, of course, in Europe and London are very much established markets. And every now and again, you might get some really rather splendid new developments coming to the market. But over here, if you blink, you will miss a new development. And I'm quite sure I drive along the roads and I'm like, that building wasn't there yesterday, I'm quite sure.
I totally agree with you. Now, 2024 has been gone. 2025, we are in the first month of it. What do you think of 2025 in Dubai real estate market?
Gosh, I think we could be in for the biggest year ever. I suspect that. Well, let me take a step back. In the summer of last year, there were 72 elections around the world. And those elections in 72 different countries allowed for changes in government and changes in governmental policy. And the biggest election of all, of course, was in the United States, where Donald Trump is now the president and where we are going to see, as a consequence of his actions, we're going to see, inshallah, a cessation of the war in the Ukraine and hopefully peace initiatives in the next 100 days between the Ukraine and Russia.
Inshallah.
What I think will happen will be once the sanctions are lifted on the Russians, and indeed once the plight of war has been lifted from the Ukrainians, I imagine we might see a rather large influx to the UAE of people looking to relocate their families and their wealth to the region. Add to that, in the United Kingdom and Europe, we've seen a movement in some respects to the far left and in others to the far right. And in many respects, as a consequence of what's happening in the United Kingdom, as an example, we're seeing plenty of millionaires looking to relocate here because the tax jurisdiction is so much more favourable than, to be fair, than anywhere else in the world. So I suspect that with there being a disparity between demand and supply, that we will see continued growth in capital values of homes. For certain communities, demand for homes in Dubai, it outstrips supply by maybe a factor of 10, as we're fully aware. The marketing realization period for a home in Dubai, if it's priced well, it will sell in less than 2 weeks. All of that is good news for the country. And I think due to the incredible governance that we have here in terms of the leadership of the country, due to the infrastructure, the healthcare, the education, the tolerance that we have here in the United Arab Emirates. I think it's probably the hottest destination in the world right now.
It is. It is. Regarding the government, I always recommend, and you always say it, when the client, especially the new buyers or new investors in Dubai, they will ask, what is the best area to invest? What kind of properties to invest, or where the location? So always my answer is, where the government investing, invest. Dubai is everywhere investment opportunity for you. What do you think about that?
I agree entirely. The infrastructure in Dubai is incredible. Traffic at the moment is a headache. So we build the RTA, develop, and with clearly defined strategy, develop new road networks that are going to resolve that issue. If I'm speaking with clients about where to invest, I will say, invest in the Pearl Jumeirah, because that's where I have a number of incredible homes for sale.
Why Pearl Jumeirah?
Well, because it's beautiful. Why not? It's stunningly gorgeous. A small island community of 307 homes, if I'm not mistaken, in close proximity to DIFC in downtown Dubai, enjoying incredible beaches and beautiful, beautiful onward sea breezes. 307 independent, designed, classically designed, contemporary designed homes that are incredibly well priced when compared to the Palm Jumeirah. So,
is it good for end user or investor?
It's not an investor destination. These homes are rather spectacular. It's for end users, people who want to buy a home and make memories. That's the best person for the Pearl Jumeirah. Investors do buy on the Pearl, and they buy and they do incredibly well. But primarily, it's for end users.
Amazing, amazing. Now, people, and I personally ask you because I heard you social media, news, everyone's saying bubbles, corrections will happen in Dubai. I know, and you know, and most of the people that they are in the real estate, they know the corrections or the bubbles has main factories need to be happened, not just suddenly would happen. What do you think?
Bubbles, corrections, I disagree entirely. The dirham is pegged to the US dollar. We are not seeing inflationary pressures in the United States anymore. Migration drives the real estate market in Dubai. We have a clearly defined migration plan here, and we are in front of that plan. More people are coming to Dubai. Habibi Come to Dubai has worked. I was rather upset.
It is working.
I wanted to buy habibicometodubai.com and just rename the company, but unfortunately somebody else got to it before I
Really?
did. Yeah, it's sold, unfortunately.
Wow.
But the truth of the matter is, inward migration to the United Arab Emirates and to Dubai specifically will continue to provide growth for the real estate sector. The bubble that we speak about, the correction that we hear, tends to be phraseology used by people who are trying to create column inches, in my opinion. None of the data supports anything that's been said in that regard. And empirical evidence, which is the best evidence, the evidence that you and I see every single day, is that the number of inquiries coming in from the four corners of the world to Dubai is staggering. As you know, we've got literally hundreds of thousands of clients looking to buy real estate here. And one of the major things to remember in terms of the correction and any talk of a slowdown is that on a per square foot basis, when compared to Singapore, when compared to Hong Kong, when compared to New York, Paris, London, Los Angeles, Miami, wherever you might compare our price per square foot, we're the cheapest by a factor of about 5.
With high end also.
Yes, in the super prime space, we are probably 20% of the cost of London. Maybe 30% of the cost of Paris. Nobody wants to live in Paris anyway. It's full of French
Millionaires are moving here to Dubai, of course. They are moving. They are moving
Yes.
here to Dubai. More than 6,700 millionaires are moving to the UAE in general.
And they're all your friends, from what I
your
understand.
friends.
They're your friends.
Yeah, I hope soon, inshallah. Next question now. It's about the location. We know real estate is based on demand and supply. When you have an investor ask you what kind of properties you recommend, apartments or villas, luxury apartments, luxury villas, what do you think? What's your answer?
That's driven by price, isn't it? To be quite
course.
honest with you, across Dubai there is a abundance of apartment options. We have probably more tower blocks going up, being constructed than anywhere else in the world, I would imagine. I once used that as an example, and a gentleman from Montreal called me and said, "We've got more buildings going up in Montreal than Dubai." And I sort of said, "Okay, fine, calm down." But I think that's a price point issue. I think if you're investing into real estate and you want to create a yield return and see some capital growth, then there are some beautiful apartment and condominium options
Like your
for
penthouse.
that. Like my penthouse, 340 million dirhams. That's staggering, isn't it?
Where is it located?
One, the Dorchester on the Palm Jumeirah.
Amazing.
It's really quite stunning. You sort of think of that and go, gosh, that's just shy of $100 million. But then... it's tax-free here in Dubai. I can receive world-class healthcare here in Dubai. I can leave my cell phone at Starbucks, which I often do, and it will
Your kids, everything, family.
and my phone will still be there in when I go back.
Yeah.
For my wife, for my daughter, it's incredibly safe. For my son, it's the most incredible place to live, isn't it? And I think for anybody who is living in New York, as an example, I spend a lot of time in New York. They're often surprised by how safe Dubai is compared to the crime that we experience in New York. So, $100 million is a incredible amount of money. But of course, it's all relative, isn't it? In terms of if you are a zillionaire, then maybe it's an incredible deal. But the apartment is beautiful. The penthouse is beautiful.
Or Bar Al Jumeirah.
You see, I love the Pearl Tree. I have something. I have something at 135 million
35,
on the Pearl Jumeirah,
Amazing.
which is
I
incredible.
saw it yesterday. Shared with one of my clients yesterday.
Yeah, it's really, really quite incredible. Really quite incredible.
So now, also we need to consider and to explain from your perspective that about the new buyers that they don't understand how the process goes for the real estate.
I think it's education, isn't it? Our job titles are private client advisors. We work for the private client office of luxuryproperty.com. There is an enormous amount of advisory that goes for selling real estate in Dubai. It's in different jurisdiction, obviously, and the way in which real estate is sold is incredible over here because it's all digital, isn't it?
Of course.
If you're buying a home in London, you are instructing a lawyer, and you would go and meet with a lawyer in their incredibly dusty old office with the creaking doors, and your lawyer would take the lead on the transaction, and it would be maybe 30 or 60 days from exchange of contracts to completion. It would all be attended to by the lawyer, who are regulated by the Law Society. Over here in Dubai, it is a process that is completed incredibly well by the Dubai Land Department using world-class digital technology, and the process of the Form A's, the Form B's, the Form F's that you and I know incredibly well takes some understanding for our clients. So it's just about educating the buyers and making sure that they understand the protocols and what is legal and what is correct and the right way of doing it. The same has to be said for the sellers as well sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes we have sellers and we're trying to explain how they do things and they want to do it a certain way, and we're like, oh gosh, no, that's not permitted. We are, of course, a regulated company, and indeed real estate brokers are regulated in Dubai. So we're well trained and we're well able to give that advice. But I think for any international buyer coming into Dubai, they will need to understand the process, which is incredibly easy, and it's possibly more seamless than the one used in London, as an example.
Amazing. Now, as we see now, recently, Sheikh Hamdan, the Prince of Dubai, has announced or published an X that they will double the number of population in Dubai by 2040, double of this number now. What do you think about the people that they are saying corrections will happen once we have more supply, more demand on the real estate?
Well, firstly, the prince, like his father and like his family before him, is a visionary. And the 2040 isn't just an abstract target. It is something that is strategically researched, that is the subject of government initiatives, and they're in front of that delivery. When I first came to Dubai 25 years ago, it's not the incredible city that I see now. It was a city at the start of its journey. This city has got an incredibly long way to go in terms of the number of people that are here, the number of projects that we've got. I have no doubt in any way, shape or form that in 25 years, when I will be 37, if I've done my maths correctly,
You're still young, Jason.
that they will achieve that. And when you look at all of the fundamentals of Dubai, not just the safety, the security, the tax thing, but if you look at how easy it is to come into the country and how easy it is to travel, I think there's a stat. Now, this is probably completely wrong, but something like 3/4 of the world is accessible from Dubai within a 7-hour flight.
Yeah.
And I think I believe that's the thing. And that's huge for people. So last week, my wife flew back to London. She was there for 3 or 4 days, and then she flew back. Didn't blink, didn't think anything of it, because it's only a sort of 7-hour flight. And I think the way that the country has opened up, I'm blessed to have a golden visa, and inshallah, one day they will say, Jason, here is your Emirati passport. And because I consider myself an Englishman by birth, but definitely Emirati by the grace of God. But I think the way that you have residency rights here for 10 years, you have golden visas, you've all sorts of options around
advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're, for people, I think it was 2 years ago that there was 45 international schools opened in Dubai. 45.
Yeah, it is actually.
You sort of think, gosh, that's a lot of schools. And then I understand right now
why
there is a waiting list for children to get to school.
It is. Here's one of my clients at Denmark. His kids are on the waiting list.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is.
So in answer to your question, yes, I think they will. And I also think the objectives are very realistic.
So let's say now, as we see in the demand on the market, that's for a best investment, people are going for studios, 1 bedroom. Now, as we saw, there's many families are moving. The demand now starting for 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. What do you think about that one also?
There is... the best, in my opinion, the best investment opportunity in Dubai is townhouses.
Of course, there's the high demand.
Enormous demand. They are incredibly well designed. 3, 4 and 5 bedroom townhouses with front gardens, with carports, with rear gardens, and maybe private pools. They are the hottest property at the moment in Dubai from an investment perspective. You can acquire and actually genuinely achieve a 7, 8, 9, 10% yield return on rent. And I think we're seeing more and more projects. So Arabian Ranches 3, as an example, is probably the best master planned community for homes of that nature, where the homes have got genuine architectural merit, incredibly well located, close to all of the schools, and we're seeing strong capital growth on those.
Regarding the villas and townhouses, there is one huge project coming. We will not mention the developer name or the location in Dubai. It will be huge, one of the biggest developer from a month from now. So if you know someone who's interesting, we need to book for him in advance, an EOI, so they can get their property, secure their property on time.
Which project?
We cannot say it now. On time, a month from now, it will be a huge project. Thousands of units will be villas from 3 to 6 bedrooms. As of now, what we get the news, based on our connection with the developer, he gave us few details.
Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. The cleverest real estate agent in Dubai is sat opposite me. He's got the inside track on everything that's going on. I thought that was top secret.
It is this, but we didn't mention anything about it. The location, developer name, we didn't mention.
I think families are moving to Dubai.
100%.
10, 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't a principal primary residence. right now, Dubai, for many, is a principal primary residence. It's where people are domiciled for taxation. It's where people live. It's where their dogs, cats, children, wives live. And that's what's changed. That's what's changed immensely. We've got a enormous growth around healthcare. There's a beautiful project called Eden Hills, a beautiful project that we're working on, developed by H&H developers. It's really, really beautiful. And the big thing that made the project so attractive is it had the American hospital as part of the project. And the
location also.
The location is great, isn't it? Immediately
Amazing.
adjacent to Dubai Hills, actually part of Dubai Hills. I think it had Tasha's. That was a bit that I was
Tasha's.
That was a bit
My
that I
favorite,
was
to be
like,
honest with
okay,
you.
that's great. I'm buying there. That's great. But I think what we're seeing is villa communities in Dubai are fully subscribed. I was at Jumeirah Golf Estates yesterday evening with a client looking at a beautiful home that we have for sale, really gorgeous home. And I was incredibly surprised. Every single driveway was full. It was full of cars, children's bikes, skateboards. It was, that's a enormous master plan community across 2 golf courses, as you know, 12 different communities, and the place was full. It was absolutely, there wasn't one for sale sign anywhere on that community, and that's reflective of the demand for villas.
Amazing.
To
There is a huge demand on the villas for sure in Dubai, and of course the developers are giving more properties and villas and townhouses.
And the quality's great, isn't it?
Amazing.
I'm looking at some of these new homes that are being delivered, and I'm thinking, gosh, that's beautiful.
Amazing.
And I mean, genuinely world class. You can't buy that in the United States at that price point. You definitely can't.
You know better than you.
You can't buy that in Europe at those price points. And we're seeing, new projects, new developers come into the market, and they're pushing the boundaries of excellence. And if you imagine that our excellence in Dubai is already truly world class, but you've got these new developers coming in, they're just taking that next step. So anybody who sits with me over lunch or over coffee and says, the market's overheating and I think there's going to be a slowdown and everything else, I think there's nothing in the economics, there's nothing in the fiscal activity of the United States or the UAE or the region. There's nothing in our market that shows that. The best time to buy real estate was when?
Yesterday.
In Dubai, the best time to buy real estate was the day before yesterday, to be fair.
There's a video actually posted like the best time to invest was yesterday.
Yeah.
But the next best time to invest is today.
Yeah.
So the people say that I will not buy now, I will wait next year. When the correction happen, I will wait.
Yeah.
Tell him to wait until inshallah after 10 years.
But you see these price rises happening quicker.
It is.
You see, and you have a client who looks at a property and they're at the start of their journey. So they're at the start of their home buying journey and they're looking and they're assessing and they're reviewing. And then you'll see that the homes that you've presented to them have all gone under offer. So when they come back round a month later or 3 weeks later, the homes that you've curated for them and shown them, they've gone under offer. So you start the process of curation again, and the pricing disparity, like, gosh, that's gone up in price because we're seeing demand so high that we're seeing that capital growth.
Which is you need.
Well, but also we're in an economy and we're in a jurisdiction where there's full transparency.
It is indeed.
So with the DLD and with the way that they record the
Everything.
transactions, from the MOUs to the rental index to the price paid, everything's available for everyone to see. So there's no
Something hidden. There's nothing.
There's
Everything
nothing
is
at
clear.
all. Everything's clean. Everything's clear, and everyone can see what the pricing is doing. And as they say, data doesn't lie,
100%.
and that's the purest form of data that we've got, the transactional activity from the land department.
Amazing. Now, also one more question. What is the biggest issues that facing the new buyers they are moving to Dubai, especially the European, American, British clients or buyers or investor also to invest? What are the biggest issues or top issues they are facing it moving to Dubai?
I think the biggest one, to be quite honest with you, is the process. So most buyers want to buy a home before they arrive in the United Arab Emirates. And that's very sensible, isn't it? I don't want to rent because I don't want to lose the money. I want to come in to Dubai on
To my home
vacation.
directly.
I want to find a nice property. I want to buy that property. And then when we arrive with the children and the dogs, we move straight into the property.
Directly.
Now, I know that feeling because my wife and I did that when we moved to the United States. So the exact same process. We flew to Los Angeles. We looked around Los Angeles, and then we found a beautiful home in Brentwood, and we purchased the property and we moved into the property. Now, we did all of that before we had our visas and everything else set up. Now, in the United Arab Emirates and Dubai specifically, if you're living overseas and you're coming in and you're buying a property and you don't have a bank account here, as an example, and you don't have a bank account because you don't have your visa, and you don't have your visa because you haven't
Still own your property to get the golden visa.
quite so
Yeah.
so we tend to find at the moment that there can be a disconnect around how you actually move your funds into the United Arab Emirates in order to complete the purchase of a property. And in recent times, there's been the introduction of escrow accounts. And in Dubai, as you and I use 3-4 different escrow companies who can help with that process. Regulated companies who are who report to the DED and also to the Dubai Land Department, and then that will.
And they are licensed by
They're licensed. They're fully regulated and licensed.
or the Central Bank of the UAE.
And that helps immensely. But in recent times, we didn't have that. So it was always a case of you were struggling to.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Takes a long
The
time,
process.
and then of course, because you're paying the 10% deposit and that sort of thing, that remains an issue. But it's one where I envisage. More and more companies will open into the escrow space. It's expensive. Currently, it's 0.5% for the escrow fee, and that feels expensive compared
How
to
much is it?
North America. 0.5%.
Yeah, 0.5%.
0.5, which is expensive.
But-
And it takes your buying costs up. So it takes your buying costs from 6 to 6.5%. So 4% to the Dubai Land Department, 2% to the real estate brokerage, and then 0.5% to the escrow. So that's always a barrier to transaction for guys coming into the United Arab Emirates. But the banks here are great, as you know, and a number of them will open client accounts.
Yeah, we can. We are someone, of course. If you have a client that he want to open a bank account, but should has a great amount, specific amounts, minimum of, and we can open for him. And
Yeah. Well, not we personally.
no person, we can
We'd probably
help
get
him.
into trouble for that.
No, of
Unless
course,
you've got the
of
Bank of
course we
H.
will help him. We will guide him to the right people in
Yeah.
the banks. They will help him
Yeah.
to open his bank account even without a visa.
Yeah.
Emirates ID. During your journey in Dubai, Jason, I want to be honest with you, to feel free about Dubai market. Handle. What do you think about Dubai market in general? We say this already. You answered that question, but regarding the Dubai South, Dubai Land, the Blue Line, the new airport, Expo, what do you think about those areas?
It's incredible, isn't it? There's so much going on. We're about to see in the next 5 years the movement of DXB International Airport to Al Maktoum Airport or DXB
Palm
World.
Jebel Ali also.
Quite. We're about to see Palm Jebel Ali, which, as an infrastructure project, is twice or 3 times the size. Twice the size of the Palm Jumeirah. The Dubai Land expansion, the metro expansion,
I heard you get a plot there for yourself. You want to build your villa there.
I can neither confirm nor deny. But yes, it is. There's so much going on here at the moment across the city. I do wonder, by the time we get to 2040, I do wonder where the centre of Dubai will be. At the moment, I feel that I live in the centre of Dubai next to the Opera House in downtown. but there's going to be newer, bigger, more spectacular opera has been built. I feel that I'm in the centre of Dubai, close to the airport, etc. But obviously the airport's moving across. So I just get the sense that it's all incredibly exciting, and I sincerely hope that I'm around in 50 years' time to see what this incredible city becomes.
Amazing. What do you think also regarding the ready properties comparing to the off-plan properties? Which one and why you prefer or you recommend it to your clients, or based on what you will recommend it, a ready or off-plan?
I'm very conservative by nature, as you know. I'm very traditional and possibly old school. I love touching and seeing my investments. So I tend to lean towards ready properties that are completed. So you know exactly what you're getting. You know exactly what the project is. That is a very personal thing.
Yeah,
but
of course.
But in effect, all of the profit, all of the real world profit, is acquiring off-plan real estate, because you are acquiring at a percentage of what a ready property would cost.
And don't forget, for the off-plan properties, you are in Dubai. Everything is regulated by Dubai Land Department. Everything, we have a escrow account for investor to be paid. We have the biggest and the only buildings that are branded with Bengali developer Bugatti, Mercedes, Jacob & Co., Pagani with Dar Global also. Those buildings are coming here in the market already. The construction started.
Off-plan is an asset class. You'll have heard me say that in the office. Off-plan is going to attract large institutional investors, REITs, and single-family offices, and indeed sovereign wealth funds and incredibly wealthy corporations, because it's an asset class. You can buy an off-plan apartment for 3 million dirhams, hypothetically. There is a very attractive payment plan for that 3 million dirhams, so you're not even paying the full amount up front. And at completion, that property will, in all probability, be worth 20% more. So through the period of construction, if it's a 2-year construction period, you're making 10% on that transaction, and you actually haven't even paid for it in full. So it's definitively an asset class.
Off-plan properties are amazing. Capital appreciation, resell it. Also the ready properties. There's a great investment of Barrel Jumeirah for end users. Ready property. They will not find it an off-plan project similar to those properties. So that's a different factors, different.
The off-plan properties it's a great investment opportunity, and it's incredibly low risk. It's incredibly low risk. You know, you pay 50% through the period of construction and then 50% on completion. Completion handovers are so incredible now compared to what they used to be. I mean, they're so incredible. You can acquire a beautiful apartment overlooking the sea for maybe 50% less than what that would cost you in Europe. That's the point. And at some point, you're going to exit that property. You're going to sell that property, and you're going to lock in phenomenal costs. And in many respects, you haven't actually done anything. It's not as if you've sort of had to build the property, or you've had to deal with the drawings or deal with anything. You've just made the investment. And the entire city has got every opportunity, hasn't it, at every price point.
Amazing. Now, before we end the podcast, I want to ask you about a funny story that happened with you, with one of your clients. I want you to tell us one of those stories that you will not forget it at all.
Oh gosh, when the lady
remember
when the lady was not that one. The funniest story I have, and I had to be careful not to mention names here.
Of course, so no names, no nationalities, no countries.
Okay, no names, no nationalities, no countries. I received a telephone call from a very, very nice lady who said, I'm looking to buy a penthouse, and you've been recommended to me as the person to speak to. And by nature, I'm always, okay, fantastic, how may I help? I probably should do a verification check. I should probably do a background check. I should probably do everything else. But I didn't. And I just said, yeah, of course, let's have a coffee. And I met this lady for coffee in downtown Dubai at a beautiful hotel. It was the Address downtown. I think it's now the Kempinski downtown.
Yeah.
And we had a lovely cup of coffee and a chat. And I had been to her country. I'd visited her country, I'd bungee jumped in her country, and I'd spent an awful lot of time in her country. So we had an awful lot in common, and they were looking for a family home. And it became quite apparent that they were very specific with what they wanted, and they had a phenomenal amount of money in order to do the purchase. And one must remember that I had not asked what her name was. I was just like, okay, fine. And this is a number of years ago now. Now things are a little bit different.
Of course.
But at the time, I was like, oh, okay, fine. And from the coffee, we jumped in my car and we went off and we looked at these two beautiful apartments, absolutely stunning. Penthouses. One was 10,000 square feet, 5 bedrooms, overlooking the Burj Khalifa and in Business Bay overlooking the water. Absolutely beautiful. At a place called Volante, where I have some beautiful penthouses for sale at 60 million dirhams, if anyone would like to call us.
Amazing.
And the other one was at a project called the 118, which was in downtown Dubai, developed by Signature Developers. It's absolutely beautiful, stunning, full floor. I think it's about 6,500 square feet, but they're 4 beds. And that's great. And we go back to the hotel, we're chatting away, chat. Go back to the hotel and she goes, great, my mum would like to come and have a look at the apartments with me. She's flying in a couple of days. That'd be okay? Yeah, fantastic. I said, would you like to view any more? She went, no, she actually loved the Volante. So I didn't think anything of it and went home, and my wife was like, and you know, where were they from? And I told her, and she went, oh wow, you've been there. And I said, I know. I said, we were chatting. She went, and what do they do? And I said, I'm not quite too sure actually. I didn't ask. And she went, oh right. And I said, but we found a gorgeous penthouse for them, and they're very excited. And we did a video and sent it to them and everything else. And then the mum flew in, and the brother and another brother, and we met again for coffee, had a lovely chat, talking about the cricket and the rugby and everything else. And then we went off to have a look at this thing. And I kept looking at the mum and thinking, gosh, I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you from? You look really familiar. Lovely lady, really, really lovely lady, talking about London, talking about Somerset and Bath, where I'm from, talking about, you know, travels and this, that, and the other. And we had lots in common. Really, really nice lady. I didn't have her name. I did not have the family name or anything else. And it wasn't because I'm not very good at what I do, but it was more a case of they just seemed really nice and I was enjoying the process. We eventually get to the point of making an offer, and she's in my office, and I said, you know, we need a check for the thing. And leading up to that, a couple of people in the elevator and things on the way up to the office were looking at her, looking at me, looking at her, looking at me. I was like, and I'm thinking now, as I look back, I'm chuckling because I'm thinking, gosh, that must have looked peculiar. And the bit that I didn't add is that she had 4 security guards with her everywhere she went. And that probably should have been a bit of a key that she was who she was. And anyway, we got to the contract and everything else. And just as we were, I said, I'm so terribly sorry. I need a name for the contract. And she gave me her name, at which point I thought, you fool, of course you are. And it was then that she realised that I hadn't put a face to the name, so to speak. Very, very famous lady, incredible, gorgeous family. I shan't disclose who they are. They enjoyed the process as much as I did, and they thought it was hilarious that I hadn't recognised who they were. And I think I got the sense that possibly for the first time in a very, very long time, somebody just spent time with her as an individual, as opposed to her as the position that she held. So yes, it was very good, and I'm often reminded of this story when I'm talking to you guys in the office about the importance of verification and things.
We need something special, like about the weird requirements you get from your clients. It's personally, like the one we will not mention nationalities, the one who's looking in the bar, Jumeirah, he needs a 17 car parking for his cars.
That's the boring one. So this one chap, I think he had quite a low budget, 60, 70, 80 million. He wanted 17 car parking spaces. And I thought, gosh, you know, you're going to have to pay an awful lot more for that number of car parking spaces. The best one I ever had, ever had, was a gentleman who wanted somewhere to park his submarine. And I thought when I was chatting with him that it was a joke. I thought it was some sort of joke. And I met with him. He bought a property from me, but he didn't find anywhere to park his submarine. But he definitively had a mini sub, and he would do deep water exploring. So he would do shipwrecks and things, and he wanted somewhere to park his submarine. And at the time I thought he was testing me, and of course my response was, yeah,
Anything in the way you will get it.
no problems, let me fix that for you. And I'm thinking, gosh, how would you do that? But that was probably one of the funniest ones. We get a lot of requests for helicopters. So that particularly
This is normal in the way for the helicopter.
we get an awful lot of requests for helicopters. We get the bizarre requests for I want to buy a villa, a main principal residence here, and then across the road I need another villa for my lady friend. And that always makes me chuckle. I'm thinking, gosh, how close would you like it to the main house? But yeah, you get some strange requests.
Now, if someone went, I think we have to in the podcast. If someone need a property to search, of course, I know, you know, that luxuryproperty.com has a lot, thousand of listing properties inside it. What's something you want to say to anyone who's watching now?
I've got 2 children at university and they're very expensive. Come and buy some real estate from us. I love both my children very much. We've got $32 billion worth of real estate listed on luxuryproperty.com. We're obviously headquartered in Dubai, but we sell homes all over the world, from the Seychelles to Sri Lanka, from Paris to Rome, London, for New York, Los Angeles, and Miami, Mexico, all over the world. We sell real estate, and we specialize, as you know, in providing private client advisory. So from the first time buyer to the seasoned seller, we just make sure that we look after our clients. So if you're looking for real estate in Dubai, click on luxuryproperty.com and put your search in, and we've got some gorgeous homes.
Of course. Thank you so much, Mr. Jason, for coming and for your time today.